Welcome to Flight of Nova, Rogue Mode 0 to 40, Episode 4. I believe I am on level 4. And I have completed an orbital mission, which means that orbital missions are becoming available. So I will continue here. I'm at base 5. I'm out in the dark. Let me adjust. Oh yeah, here we are on the dark side of the planet. Controllers hooked up. Refueling. 2 kilometers away. Oh, but it's a 3 difficulty. That's pretty good. So, drop shaft mission. So that should help me level it up. Oh, there we go. I used to only play with this, but then I did a whole series of videos running completely third-person camera, and now I'm all uncoordinated for some of this stuff. I gotta warm back up to the first-person cameras. I missed. I crashed. I wonder how bad that crash was. It up. No warm up. Wrong button. Miss. I missed. I missed again. Long day at work, huh? No coordination. Finally. I'll pick up another one. Oh, falling short of that level 5. Floor difficulty. I think it's so far away right now. $9,000 kilometers, but it's a 4, but I'm not gonna do that right now. Really flying all loose, as they might say. Really going all over the place. Really having no control over the old. There we go. And my delivery is only 1.9 kilometers away, and that's the local mission. So that should put me at level 5, like, within the first 10 minutes of the game. I can probably shoot for level 6. 5. Oh, grade 5. Is there anything closer? No. This will burn a couple of minutes of the time off of this other thing too. Go for the initial climb of AOE 50 degrees. This is a 755 altitude station, but I need to go north a little bit. To dogleg onto the equator. Almost to 40. That's when I get to see my apoapsis. I'm gonna try to go for 750. $600 there. $753.1 kilometers altitude is the apoapsis of my parabolic flight. There is Alka team right now. So what you want to do here is it's called the window method, Ico's window method. And so if I put that station, then you can see it doesn't appear to be moving significantly. So now you know that I'm basically traveling directly at the station, even though it's actually in orbit and I'm chasing it, but our relative trajectories to each other are that I'm going to fly directly at the station because the number is getting smaller and it's not otherwise moving. .300 kilometers altitude. As it gets closer, it should start to track a little bit more dramatically. So then if it was moving leftwards, then I would want to rotate my ship and throttle leftwards from this view. Or if it was moving up, then I would want to throttle up in order to correct so that I would be flying directly at the ship. And of course it's called the window method because you could do this from your windows or from your cameras that can see. You would just look and put that station somewhere that you could see it out the window, like 470 kilometers altitude. My latitude is negative 0.9. So I'm hoping to be right around 0. And then I'll use my burn to put my inclination at 0 when I'm at that correct altitude. It's too bad this third-person view doesn't show you the longitude, latitude. Down there by the NES, Nintendo Entertainment System. .600 kilometers altitude. 150 more kilometers altitude left to climb. And I want to catch the station pretty well. I don't want to overshoot it, because if I get too close to the station on a flyby, then the drifting cargo will like appear. And then if I get 70 kilometers away from it after it appears, then I'll like basically lose the mission, which is very undesirable. So I can't really speed wobble on these drifting cargo missions. That's what I call it, when you go too far and then go too far and then go too far, but each time you get a little closer. I like to call that a speed wobble. Alright, so this thing has a lot of juice. It's a very powerful engines. Probably want to wait till about 200 kilometers distance. At this point, I know my apoapsis system is going to be close enough. I can correct with thrust. So if I just go for about 200 kilometers distance, I'm going to be so close in altitude, then I don't need to worry about the exact apoapsis burn. You know, this isn't NASA. You know, I don't have to worry about every second of thrust, or the mission will fail later on because I'm going to run out of fuel. I'm going to refuel at the space station. So engines on. Latitude is good, 0. So now I want my burn to be canceling out that inclination. I might want to cancel it a little more fiercely than that. And then I want to be pointing directly east again. I'm kind of wobbling on that inclination. A little bit more skyward.
DL01, Station El Kudo. Welcome. We've detected your beacon.
Oh man, heading a fierce speed wobble. There it is. Yeah, so I definitely failed the mission. Maybe not. Match velocity. Then what I like to do is line up with the belly cam. Which is what this should be called. Right, there it is. I think I just gotta take it over to Station Al Kutim. And unfortunately, I can only assume I have to go to a pad. But I know there's a dock port on here. I just gotta find it. I'll hit that dock port first. Dock with the freight. Oh, it's so dark. I used to know exactly where this dock port was.
Freighter TL01, Station El Kutum. Proceed with the docking approach. Docking Bay 1.
There it is. I just deliver my cargo. delivering salvaged cargo. Alright, now here I can do it. But I don't want to go to Indira. But here I can go to Skybarge. I'll do this. It's a re-entry. It's 3 XP. Cutting it close there. 1 minute left. Alright. Mendel. Where's my Mendel? Oh, that's good. Mendel's good for this levels and stuff. Mendel, 6,000 kilometers away. Man, I better go wait at a dock port. Mendel. Alright, how am I gonna do this? 750, I never drop from 750. So I don't know how long it's gonna take me. I'm gonna go from here. Alright, so that's where I'm going. Oh yeah, I better get it booking. Try to get to that negative 90-ish. Now I want to drop my altitude right above the atmosphere and then level off. And I don't want to be going too much. I'm gonna go like a 12 FPA and I'm gonna watch that distance. But actually during this time I could be adjusting my dog leg. Alright, so I'm way up in the sky. I'm 687. So I need to be going a little bit faster down, I think. That looks pretty close. So 11.7, I don't think that's going to be adequate. I'm going to shoot for an FPA of 15. And I think that because of my freight, because of my velocity, I'm gonna need to get burning to change my FPA back to about -5 at 90, up at like 130 maybe, 140. I don't know if I'm gonna make it though. 2400, this is when I should be normally undocking from altitude 188 station. And I still got a long ways to drop. And I would normally get out of there, hit the burn, and get immediately descending at -10. So now I'm almost to 470 kilometers altitude. This is quite stressful. What I do when I have a high altitude station with a mission to the ground, just because I like flying from one station to the next, is I fly to a 188 station and I actually don't try to perform a re-entry from a 750 station ever. I mean, I know you could just like learn which one you should be doing, but let's do 2,000 kilometers out. I'm only at 400 kilometers. It's going to be a high intensity burn. I don't know if it's going to work. I might overshoot like a lot. Might be able to make up for it by coming in like super hot. Because I still have to drop a lot of altitude. And because of my high velocity, my FPA is actually dropping. Because I'm in a super orbital velocity, an elliptical orbit. I needed to leave sooner. I think I left at a good time for a 450 station. Or steeper. Quite a bit steeper, negative 20. Alright, here's our normal altitude, and I'm only 1,100 kilometers out. So at this point, I gotta burn off velocity. There's no way otherwise. I gotta burn this guy right here. I'm absolutely cannonballing into the atmosphere. I might burn up here. This might be too hot. I just don't want to miss. It's about to get really hot. I already overshot for sure. By at least 100, 200 kilometers minimum. Actually, that wasn't so bad. Coming in from the front. See if I got that level 6. Probably not. Drop zone 2. Mine 841. Mine 841. 375 kilometers away for a level 4 difficulty. That's got my name all over it.
TL01 craft, Skybarge Toledo. Welcome, we have you on screen.
I just gotta reach mine 841, the worst space station of all of the space stations. It's actually nice, but there's no open dock ports on mine 841. And as any of my previous space station docking viewers may have noticed, I always go to the dock port first, which is impossible at mine 841.
TL01 craft, base E2 ground, we have you on screen.
What kind of launch site is this? replica. Alright, you know what? I want to get looking towards the east. Long launch window. No more water in the room, huh? Not that long ago, you could only go 20x time excel on the ground, and only 10x in space. So 50x time skip really saves a lot of time in the game. Alright, here we go. Sullen. That's the best space station in the game, Sullen Station. Second only to DaCosta. There's mine EP4. Alright, so once we hit this checkpoint, I'm going to cut the engines just for a short little bit. Because I feel like that stall helps you line up just a little bit better. You can see up in the top left of the screen, apoapsis is going to climb up to 185-ish. We wait, and there's DaCosta right there. The biggest bonus of mine EP4 is being in relatively close proximity to Station DaCosta. So it's one of the early first fun, oh, I'll fly from one station to the next, I'll just wing it, I'll see if I can beat these orbital mechanics. And it's nice because they're so close together, they're on the same trajectory, so it's a little bit like if there was no orbital mechanics at all, the flight isn't that terribly different, although there's a little bit of a difference. So because you drop altitude if you're going slower, or you either have to do like a hop to gain some altitude so that you kind of fall back down right on it, or you can just use tons and tons of fuel and burn a whole lot, and then maybe speed waddle a little bit when you get there. Who cares? Coming up on station Mine 41. Almost time to engage my boosters. Here we go. Oh no. Max burn. Lined right up with that rock. Throttle on.
TL01, orbital line 41. You are go for docking.
May have missed. Yep, I missed. Deliver Triana. Re-entry window for Triana is far. That's okay. This is the perfect opportunity to catch Da Costa. Where's Da Costa station? I see you. So I'm gonna go for a classic, gain some altitude, lose some speed to try to not drop out of the sky. And then I'll re-enter from Da Costa station. That's what's so great about that rogue mode, huh? So I don't want to gain too much altitude here. So the Costa station is pretty cool. It's kind of what you think of like as a way station in the Expanse or something like that. I don't want to gain too much altitude here. I just want to get really booking over there to make this as short of a trip as possible. Now I want to gain some of that altitude. A little bit. Now I want to get turned around here. So I'm going to drop like a rock. So I'm actually still closer to mine A41 than I am to Da Costa. But I'm almost to Da Costa as well. So now I'm still climbing. I'm still climbing. But I'm going to start dropping like a rock. Going 2,700 meters per second in space relative to the planet. It's not exactly orbital trajectory. But I shouldn't drop too far here, and I'm going to have to hit the juice here in another 100 kilometers. So, successfully hopping from mine A41 to Da Costa station to await re-entry at a respectable space station. It has a free dock port to practice docking to. Alright, so I do want to kind of correct my FPA a little bit while I'm doing this. Because even though I'm above 188, hopefully I don't speed wobble too hard here. Another cool thing about Da Costa is it's a very small space station. So it's 700 meters per second, I think.
We received your authorization code.
Around 20 kilometers distance is when I should be really worrying about hitting the brakes. Too fast. That's okay though. Now I can have a nice careful approach. From here, it'll be very picturesque. Some of that orbital mechanics must be at play, huh? Floating up in there. Alright, there's a dock port. There's a dock port. Throttle on. I'm gonna go to this one right here. You see, because it's so small, you don't have to go that fast. At Alkin Station, you'll never get anywhere at this speed. Alright, I'm lining up correctly. Rotating to the top cam. Now we wait for the re-entry window. Triana, 19 minutes. Good enough. Searching for that negative 10 FPA. There it is. Next step, after the float, we're gonna go to about a negative 5.5 FPA. Probably around 110 kilometers I'll start that burn. 110 kilometers altitude. Alright, I'm gonna go ahead and start that burn. So I just want to get down just below 6. And then at 90 kilometers, my controls will switch. And I play where I'm inverted in the atmosphere, but up is up in space, which is always confusing me. I'm always doing the wrong button because I'm always switching right there. But I just float here at perpendicular using the thrust as long as I can until the friction actually pulls me down, which is going to start doing here any second. There it is, pulling me down fully. You can see my rotation is changing no matter how hard I pull on the thrust. And then once my FPA hits 0, I'm going to level off. And that's where I'm going to fly it out. Alright, FPA is at 0, and sure enough, I'm at the perfect 52.4 kilometers altitude. So from here I might use the trim to keep my FPA from dropping. So my FPA is dropping, so I'm going to throw some trim on there. And then that amount of tilt should also work as an air brake. And I don't really want to gain any altitude at this point, because any higher than that means less of an air brake. But I don't really want to lose any altitude, because then I might brake a lot, and I don't want to brake a lot too quickly, because then I might need to use fuel to get back. I just want a nice gradual slowdown at this point. You also don't want to brake too early, because that increases your trip time if you brake too early. So I know that this does mean that I could come in a little later, come in a lot hotter, but there's like this area which is where I'm at right now, where you kind of have a long window. Like, I could hit the brakes a lot harder now if I'm overshooting, or I could let it float out for a lot longer. Even with minimal thrust at this point, I could float out for a lot longer. So there's like this nice happy altitude and velocity where you can kind of have a nice wide window. Once you start coming in too hot, then you either blow up completely, or undershoot, or overshoot way too easily and way too far. So this way, let me turn on my trim. It's really quite easy to come right down on top of your target. You know, there's a lot of variables. A container makes it different. Each ship is a little different. Your flight is always a little different because you're playing it. You know, you're not talking to a flight control team. You're just kind of winging it. But I only know this one from 188. I don't know the other altitudes. I never really spent enough time trying to figure that out. Coming up on Triana. Coming up on air cargo. Oh, I didn't know that. Coming in a little hot.
TL01, base 163 ground. Hey there. Freighter TL01, Skybar Jatori, welcome.
Another nice thing about that re-entry is look how little fuel I consumed. Alright, that's probably going to be the end of the video, whether I hit 6 or not, but I think I'm going to hit 6. Here we go, here's 6. Hit 6. What was that, a level 3 difficulty, or was that a level 4 difficulty? I can't remember. Well, it must be 4. 4037. So, I don't know what the next benchmark is. But here's what I am gonna do. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, I just need more missions like that. Oh man, what a great mission. D6. Alright, access to D6 missions. Alright, so in that case, normally what I do is something else. I try to save up all of the great space station ones I go through, like I go delete this, but I would save Some of these because I could just show up. So here, look. I just need to get to this space station, and then I have a mission there. Once I'm there, I can just do a mission. So if I'm close to mine A41 at another space station, I can fly. I have an excuse. So then what I do is I delete one by one every one of these missions. Everything. Station Montana, but it goes to a land base first. No, delete. Station Montana, but it goes to a land base first. Delete. Platinum, delete. Delete. Land base. Lost container. Station Alkin, but it goes to a land base first. Delete it. Sky. Oh, here's my deep space signal. It's because I made it to level 6. Not based at a space station. Not based at a space station. Not based at a space station. Based at a space station. Based at a space station. And that's it. So now, next time I go to space, if I come anywhere close to these, then I have a good excuse to fly from one space station to another space station. Because if I go to a Palmas or any of these other space stations, and then I'm only 400 kilometers away from Alkin, well, heck, while I'm here, I might as well zoom over to Alkin, have a nice orbital transfer, and I got a nice difficulty 3 mission. I'll get some levels. So now, by saving these kind of missions that start at a space station and never expire, as long as I save all those, every time I go to space, I could have an opportunity to do extra missions while in space instead of having to come back to the ground. I mean, it's hard to say. You are now at level 6. So now I can send a request for local missions. This is only when docked at a land base. Alright, well anyways, that's it for my episode 4 of Rogue Mode 0 to 40. We're at 7 right now. Took 4, but now that we're up at level 6, we should start getting some bigger missions. We should be able to be bagging more than 1 level per episode. So I'm going to say we're going to try to go for 2 levels per episode instead of 1. So we'll probably be about 15 more episodes. But anyways, that's all for now. And thank you very much.